From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Good evening and welcome to this special edition of Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Jody Guerrero. Tonight we take a look back at top education stories, from the college admissions scandal to vape detectors installed in school bathrooms.
New Arizona ties to the college admissions scandal. Reporter Nicole Hernandez has a breakdown of how Arizona is connected to the scheme.
Social media has been buzzing about the scam that has many high-profile people in legal trouble. Here in Arizona, ASU was brought into the mix after actress Lori Loughlin's husband mentioned the college in an email related to the scandal. Then a developer who had property here in the valley made headlines for being charged in connection with the bribery case. The federal government accused developer Robert Flaxman, whose company helped create the Monte Lucia Resort in Scottsdale, with paying several $100,000 to get his son into University of San Diego. Flaxman is one of several cases of bribery outlined in this FBI affidavit. A portion of these parents tapped into schools' athletic systems to get their children admitted. Here's how that system works for the typical recruited athlete.
They go through the admissions process, and if they're accepted, they're accepted, and that's just how it is. But if they are underperforming, the coach has an ability to use one of an allocated number of slots for admissions.
But sometimes not all of those slots will be used, so parents were paying to have their child admitted through a sports team's roster, sometimes with no intention of ever playing that sport.
Who has the knowledge and the resources to gain this pathway? It's this knowledge that's really a reflection of your eliteness and your wealth.
College admissions consultant Aaron Goodnow helps students with Ivy League applications for a living, saying getting into schools of this caliber is like winning the lottery.
Expectations for getting into these Ivy League schools or anything else is really hard, and I always try to manage those expectations.
Spend around 20 hours with her working on essays, preparing for interviews, studying for tests, and more for the chance to attend these top schools. In the broadcast center, Nicole Hernandez, Cronkite News.
The Arizona School ID Initiative began at the Paradise Valley School District and has since morphed into a statement effort to prevent suicides.
Cronkite News reporter Madeline Haller spoke with Teen Lifeline about how prevalent this effort is in the West Valley schools compared to campuses in the East Valley.
I can look back now, goosebumps just thinking about it. I can think of all the people that intersected with Andy's life, and he said different things that had anybody known, including myself, would have been a red flag.
Parents like Leanne Hull wish they would have known more about signs that could lead to suicide. Hull lost her son Andy when he was just 16 years old. She says he seemed to be a happy and well-involved high schooler.
No one really talked about suicide and prevention methods, and it just wasn't part of our thought process or our language. We certainly never thought that this was going to happen to us, as that's the way it is for most people.
Hull shares that Teen Lifeline hotline wasn't discussed at her son's school when he died by suicide in 2012. Now, the phone number is printed on students' school IDs. Nikki Kuntz, a clinical director at Teen Lifeline, says that the East Valley was the first to adopt the Arizona School ID initiative, and West Valley schools are now jumping on board in larger quantities.
This past year, we started a new relationship with an ID company that covers most of the West Valley schools. So with that relationship, they actually were able to promote it to schools that didn't know about it.
She says the schools that haven't yet adopted the initiative are likely unsure of how to implement the resource on their campus.
A lot of schools still don't know, one, it exists. Two, they don't understand that we'll help them to secure it for as free as possible. That it doesn't have to just be started in the beginning of the school year.
Kuntz and Hull both agree that creating an environment that normalizes conversations about suicide can be life-saving. Hull reflects on her son's memory, but moves forward knowing she too can help other young people and adults realize you matter.
It was just a gift, really, to all of us, to the world, to life, because he really brought a lot. I tell people that what Andy did in 16 years, there are people that live 85 years and never do all of the things and contribute to the world like he did.
Teen Lifeline hotline information is on the back of ID cards at more than 170 schools, reaching well over 200,000 students valley-wide. In Phoenix, Madeline Haller, Cronkite News.
Teens who need help can text or call the Teen Lifeline hotline at the number on your screen, 800-248-8336. Parents and schools can find resources about the topics that are troubling teens online at teenlifeline.org. According to the 2018 Arizona Youth Survey, 20% of students say they've used an e-cigarette in the past 30 days.
Kyrene Apprende Middle School is taking measures to deter students from vaping on school property.
Cronkite News reporter Alexis Pulick spoke with educators and addiction specialists to learn how to combat this issue.
Carson Crystal, a student at Kyrene Apprende, noticed a new trend taking place at school.
8th grade, like everyone is like, oh, do you vape? It's like, oh yeah, do you vape? Oh yeah, it's like kind of like it's more common, and most people don't really care anymore now because a lot of people do it.
Students told the administration that vaping is an issue on school grounds.
A student focus group said to her that their biggest concern in middle school was not friends, it wasn't their subjects or their teachers, it was the fact that they wouldn't use the restroom all day long because they were so scared of going into the restroom and either seeing someone vaping or getting caught vaping.
The school installed a detector that would alert staff if someone was vaping in the restroom.
Basically how it works is there's a cloud-based website that has all the information about the detector. Once vape or sound is detected in a specific location, that alerts us through an email or text, and then we go to that location and see what's happening in that bathroom.
According to the FDA, e-cigarette use from 2017 to 2018 has increased 78% among high school students and 48% among middle school students. However, educators are clear that the most impactful way to reduce vaping is not through the device itself.
It's not about the gotcha with the kid. If we're not connecting the educational piece with the detectors, then we're really not educating the students and families on how serious this could be and the long-term effect of vaping.
Addiction specialists say parents have a large role to play in prevention.
I always tell parents to think about the 5-year rule. At what age your child is now, think about what they need to know in 5 years and talk to them about it now, because they're more open to the message right now.
To Crystal, the peer pressure just isn't worth it.
The fact that people have to try and fit in and try and do like stuff like that to fit in kind of it's messed up, because like you shouldn't harm yourself in order to fit in with your peers.
Mowry says in order to decrease the rising number of middle schoolers vaping, it's going to take a combined effort from educators, legislators, law enforcement, and parents.
Today, dozens of advocates took a trip down to the Capitol to demand action. Cronkite News reporter Tavia Madison spoke with educators at the event and joins us with the story.
Education advocates from across the valley, including those who participated in last year's walkouts, joined together at the Capitol today to take part in the spring break at the Capitol event.
So we're hoping to come out today and speak with some legislators, sit in on some education hearings, and just kind of make folks know at the Capitol that we still care about education funding, that we're still out here, that we want them to fund schools in Arizona.
Members of the Arizona Education Association and Save Our Schools were able to tell their stories and to meet with legislators to voice their concerns.
I'm here today because I'm fighting for what is right for our students, for our staff, and for our teachers.
Advocates say Arizona schools are still being underfunded by over $700 million and that it's not fair to their students.
And we just want to make sure that that students that are in our classroom every day get the best education possible, and that's not going to happen if the legislature doesn't take some steps to improve education funding.
Today at the Arizona State Capitol, dozens of education advocates from across the valley showed up to deliver messages to legislators. Now, some of these folks are the same people who participated in last year's Red for Ed walkouts, but a lot of them are saying that not much has changed.
The schools have not changed from last year. Some of us got raises, not everybody, but that's not why Red for Ed started. Red for Ed started as just a pure ignorance of what is happening in the schools. Our students are not getting the education they deserve, and we want them to join us to demand that our kids get the very best.
Garcia went on to say that her biggest goal for the day was to have her questions answered.
So our hope is to ask the legislators, it's been a year, we've given you time, what are you going to do for our schools?
At the state capitol, Tavia Madison, Cronkite News.
Those who attended the event say they will continue coming to the Capitol to advocate for change if their needs are not met.
New school jitters, remember those? Well, think about a new school in another country. Thankfully, there's one here in Arizona that helps connect cultures, countries, and languages while ensuring students learn how American schools work. Cronkite News reporter Amani Stevens takes us back to class.
I'm from Afghanistan.
Congo, Mexico, Congo.
Mexico.
This group of students are from places all over the world. But one thing they have in common is that they all attend Valencia Newcomer School in Phoenix. The school opened in the fall of 2018 to help refugee or immigrant status students with the transition, because the move to the United States wasn't always smooth.
We just found that the students were struggling because there wasn't a set model. The teachers were still teaching at the middle of the road.
And at this school, teachers are able to meet the students at their learning levels.
Targeting our instruction to meet individual needs of students that speak a variety of different languages and come with a variety of and diverse backgrounds.
Christine Jones, who teaches 3rd through 5th grade, says the students that once had challenges with learning English are now teaching other students.
There, learn. There's like little sponges. They're ready to learn.
I learned new words, writing in English, reading in English.
And those skills are what Angelique's father, who fled Congo due to war, is most proud about when he spoke to us through a translator.
I was not even able to read anything, but since we come here, we have been admitted with Alhambra School District, and my kids right now, they are doing an amazing job. When they send me the letter in my mailbox, my kid reads. When I'm going to appointment, my kid we don't need any translator right now. My kids are helping me.
That help also reaches at home, where the school staff does home visits to help with the transition.
It affects the children and it affects their learning when they're worried about what's going on at home, or if mom's going to be able to come home that day, or if they're going to have food at their home. That's a big worry of from our children, and that hurts our heart.
Valencia Newcomer School assists immigrants who speak 18 different languages from 30 different countries.
7 times 7, 49.
In Phoenix, Imani Stevens, Cronkite News.
After that bill was shot down at the Capitol, there's an effort to recognize public schools and their teachers. It's Public Schools Week, and advocates are celebrating staff as well as making sure funding efforts aren't forgotten. Cronkite News reporter Tavia Madison joins us with the story.
In Arizona, more than 1 million students attend public schools, according to the Department of Education. And while efforts like Red for Ed have helped raise public awareness, local advocates say Arizona's public education system needs help.
Education is a top priority for so many people. Let's really celebrate it this year.
It's Public Schools Week in Arizona, and to celebrate public education, members of Save Our Schools Arizona are getting active.
We wanted to put a spotlight on public schools, celebrate them, but also encourage people to keep advocating for them.
One way members are advocating is through social media, using the hashtag #PublicSchoolProud and posting photos in red to spread awareness for their cause.
We know that we have some of the lowest paid teachers. We know we have some of the most underfunded classrooms. And so we wanted to show that even with all these challenges, our teachers are working miracles.
And these teachers say they are happy to be recognized.
I think raising the awareness for everyone, not just people that are currently in the system, is amazing, because I think it's when you're not looking at it, it's not there. And I think we need to continue to be there, because we are there for everyone's kids.
There are activities planned each day through Friday the 29th, and advocates say they hope everyone will get involved.
Our public schools still matter to every single one of us, and so it's important to actually take a week out of the whole year and recognize that.
In efforts to spread awareness, Save Our Schools will also celebrate Public Schools Week by reaching out to legislators and asking them to prioritize public schools. In the Broadcast Center, Tavia Madison, Cronkite News.
Getting kids off electronics and into the outdoors, especially with all this beautiful weather we're having. The McDowell Sonoran Conservancy is hosting an event this weekend to teach kids how to become junior citizen scientists. Cronkite News reporter Madeline Holler takes us there.
From the one we had last year, 75% of the students that came out had never been to the natural desert. And a lot of people ask, how's that possible? We live in the desert.
The McDowell Sonoran Conservancy hosts the Junior Citizen Science Festival with the hope that students will be exposed to the desert and learn from it. The first 2 days of the festival showcase a space outside of the asphalt jungles.
Our children are our future. If we don't teach them about the importance of the environment, natural resources, and caring for what we have, then there's no way to ensure that that'll be a priority in how they're thinking moving forward.
The event includes a number of booths that teach students about live reptiles, cacti, and microclimates. America Morales, an elementary school student, has never been to the park. She wasn't 100% sure about what the day would entail.
Probably gonna hike around and see all the animals that are around.
Teachers like Rebecca Glenn see the value of teaching science through nature, which is something she is particularly passionate about.
Oh gosh, I mean, science is everything. It explains how we live, why we live, and kids are such natural scientists. They're curious about everything, and if we can kind of harness that, it allows them to understand everything in education.
And with so much attention being taken away from science in school, opportunities like this to be able to bring out children and teach them about science at such an early age is an opportunity to get them intrigued and want to learn more.
The McDowell Sonoran Conservancy volunteers continue this education outside of the festival. They go into classrooms to review and reintroduce ideas learned at the event. In Scottsdale, Madeline Holler, Cronkite News.
The Junior Citizen Science Festival will be open to the public tomorrow at the McDowell Sonoran Preserve, and admission is free.
Lunchtime may be a favorite for many students in schools across the valley, but what if not all of them are being fed? A new bill is aiming to make sure this won't happen to hungry students. Cronkite News reporter Tavia Madison has the story.
When students come into class hungry, the learning process just shuts off.
Middle school teacher Naomi Lunskow says her students' nutrition is important.
They need to be well fed and have food in their system to be able to kind of zone in and have a healthy brain to process the things that I'm teaching them.
But not all schools in the valley are providing students with equal access to school lunches.
Some schools have a sign up, no cash, no lunch.
Arizona lawmakers have proposed a bill that would require schools to provide a meal to any student who requests one, even if they can't pay for it. Some schools provided students with a different meal, but lawmakers say it's not good enough.
They would give them alternative lunches, like maybe a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or a fruit or whatever, but it was clearly not the regular lunch that other children got.
And they say alternative lunches created an even larger issue.
It creates a very hostile, unfriendly environment in which they're supposed to be there to learn, and it's supposed to be a welcoming, supportive, nurturing place. And here they are being shamed because they don't have the money for lunch.
There are currently over 22 million students who rely on the free and reduced price lunch systems across the United States, according to NoKidHungry.org. And while that still remains here in the Valley, Arizona legislators say that more work needs to be done.
This will help schools to be able to know that they should just give the same lunch to every student and ask the parents to be sure to pay for it.
Legislators say it's much harder to learn on an empty stomach, and this issue will be resolved if every child is fed. In Phoenix, Tavia Madison, Cronkite News.
We all know college is expensive, but one Arizona program is helping students earn to learn. Cronkite News reporter Claire Kelly is joining us live now. Claire, how is this program assisting lower-income students achieve their dreams?
Well, the most important thing is that they're guiding these students every step of the way towards financial success throughout their school career and after.
And it's really a critical life skill that I don't know if you went to one budgeting workshop, you would necessarily change your behavior.
But giving an 800% return on an investment can. Kate Hoffman started Earn to Learn to help low-income students pay for college while also learning money management skills. Students have to reach a savings goal of $500 in their college account, and then they receive a $4,000 scholarship for saving.
Because the students are systematically saving towards that savings goal of $500, every single month that they're in that financial institution making that deposit into that account, I mean, that's effectively like living and breathing budgeting, right? Because they're thinking about how they're spending their money and how they're going to make that deposit.
The idea behind Earn to Learn is to not only help students by giving them money for their education, but to also teach students about things like budgeting, credit, loans, and overall financial responsibility. It's helped Daniela Lizarraga through her 4 years at ASU double majoring in accounting and finance, and even now as she works to get her master's.
I was only able to get probably half of the like my tuition and charges covered, but with Earn to Learn I was probably able to get like 75% of the program covered. So even though I still had to pay a little bit out of pocket, it was definitely a huge help.
Right now, Earn to Learn is only for Arizona residents and is partnered with NAU, ASU, and U of A. But Hoffman believes that this idea of matched savings scholarship programs could potentially be part of the solution to the student debt crisis nationwide.
I think a program like this at scale, assuming that we were able to maintain similar success metrics to what we've seen so far, could really be a game changer.
To apply for the scholarship program, you have to income qualify and take a personal finance training class. In the Cronkite News Broadcast Center, Claire Kelly.
What started as a simple in-class assignment turned into a safety campaign for young drivers and passengers to wear their seatbelts. Reporter Gabriela Becerra went to Verrado High School where Mrs. Eisen's class started the Buckle Up VHS campaign.
Good afternoon, Vipers. This is day 2 of our Buckle Up Verrado campaign.
The assignment for Miss Eisen's AP government class was to draft a bill that didn't exist.
The purpose of the assignment is to see the kind of politics that goes into legislation and to see that it's really hard to pass a bill, and bills can die for a lot of reasons.
But Amber Silverio's bill requiring seatbelts in the back seat of a car didn't die.
It was one of like 2 bills that passed all day.
The bill was more than an assignment for Silverio and her classmates because of accidents involving friends.
The idea of these losses in car accidents is just something that was really fresh in my mind.
So the class quickly got behind the idea of turning her bill into action.
Something that we wanted to get out there, something that we wanted to leave an impact on the school.
They're asking their classmates to take this pledge with them.
Come sign our banner, guys.
For me to sign this, I will be buckling up, and I want to set the example for the younger generation coming up and those that aren't buckling up now.
The class raised donations to have banners placed on light poles in the student parking lot with the reminder to buckle up. The bill is even getting the attention of the Arizona legislature. Senator Martin Quesada says it's amazing to see the students taking action.
Young people now are really understanding the power that they have and the influence they have and their ability to not only make noise about an issue, but actually have impacts on the changing of public policy.
But at the end of the day, the students just want to save lives.
Just one person, if they're going to wear their seatbelt because of this, like that's enough for me. I don't know about everyone else, but that's enough for me.
In Buckeye, Gabriela Becerra, Cronkite News.
The banners won't be going up until next school year, and although these graduating seniors won't be around to see it, they say they're excited for the legacy they could leave behind.
Students with disabilities may find a better schooling environment online. For a former online student who turned to the internet to avoid the pressures of an in-person class, that decision led to a career. Sammy Giebers talked to a registrar of the Arizona Virtual Academy who is back at the high school that gave her an environment she thrived in.
Hi, this is Brianna with the Arizona Virtual Academy.
Life is busy for an online high school registrar.
I'm gonna work on transcripts, I'm gonna fix photo for compliance, I'm gonna do some filing.
And Brianna Curtis doesn't let being hard of hearing stop her from answering the phone and talking to students all day long.
Well, I hope you have a good afternoon.
There are only a few months left before online students at Arizona Virtual Academy graduate. So Curtis fixes up diplomas to send off. It was only a few years ago that someone from the same office she's working at now
I'm gonna go check her folder.
Was packing up a graduation diploma for her.
She's very enthusiastic, and that's what I love. And she was very enthusiastic, especially because she's a graduate of Arizona Virtual Academy.
I have my class of 2012 yearbook, and it's so unique that you wouldn't think like an online school would have one, but we do.
Curtis has come back to the online high school that she says has given her so much.
This environment really just worked. You'll no longer be, I don't know, put down or have any pressure because of your disability.
While Curtis says that being hearing impaired wasn't the motivation behind signing up for the online school, she believes the virtual platform allowed her to excel. And Curtis isn't the only one who has found this to be true. K-12, which powers the Arizona Virtual Academy, reported that 26% of parents of high school students enrolled their children because their student had special needs.
The most equal environment you will be in. I could be a professional filer if that's the position we have, but we don't have it, so.
At the beginning, yeah, she was pretty much kind of in her own little shell. She's definitely come out of her shell.
Constantly being challenged. Like at first I was afraid to take phone calls, and now I can take a phone call and be okay with it. Hi, this is Brianna with the Arizona Virtual Academy.
Curtis found a lot of success at the online school.
And I got something for her.
And now she's helping others do the same. In Phoenix, Sammy Giebers, Cronkite News.
That's it for this special edition of Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.